Well, hello again. My latest book in the Belt series, Book 5, Exodus, is just out. So I thought I would take this opportunity to maybe give you a bit of background to the Belt series, what it's about, and where some of the ideas and themes came from. Now, there's a common trope in sci-fi where the AI robots become sentient and enslave all of human civilization. But here's the thing, what if it has already happened and we just don't know it yet?
Skynet has become self-aware. In 1 hour, it will initiate a massive nuclear attack on its enemy.
What enemy? Us!
So I wanted to write a kind of a space adventure set maybe 300-400 years into the future after all the events of the Colony Mars series. And it centers around a crew of a science vessel, the Hermes. Quite a collection of characters, and really it's a kind of a space adventure romp, I suppose. The best way to describe it might be it's a kind of a cross between The Expanse and Firefly. That's really what it's like.
And I do not hold to that. So no more running. I aim to misbehave.
But for some of the themes, I was thinking, well, 300-400 years in the future, what would society look like, even if we've colonized the solar system? And one of the things at the time that kind of piqued my interest was an argument between Zuckerberg and Elon Musk about the kind of dangers of AI. And that kind of got me thinking about where AI is at the moment. And if you think about it, a lot of stuff we do is dictated by various algorithms. I mean, if I get into my car and travel somewhere, I'll stick the destination in and the AI will find me the best route, and if there's traffic it'll divert me and do all sorts of things.
Lost, driving in a strange town with an address but no map. Sooner or later it's a pedestrian who helps out.
I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you how to get there.
So there's quite a lot of our current life that is being dictated by algorithms. So I was sort of taking this idea and sort of extrapolating it out further. And I mean, a lot of what these AIs do is, for one, they're kind of controlled by fairly major corporations, and their primary directive is really profit, make profit for us, the corporation. So I took that theme and I ran with it and set a world where really everything is controlled by AIs, of which they are controlled by various corporations. So there's 7 major corporations. Also into this, I introduced one particular family, kind of our antagonist, called Van Hilding, and they're into genetic engineering, and they have become rich on patents they have created for the ability to rejuvenate and for longevity. Okay, so this is what they've been doing biotechnically, and they're fabulously wealthy, and they're the most powerful family of the whole lot. So as a consequence, the super rich can live much longer, and then as a consequence these corporations become essentially dynasties. So instead of having 7 corporations that kind of run the entire solar system, it's 7 families that run it. And that's kind of the backdrop to the story. It kind of kicks off with our intrepid crew on a science vessel out surveying the asteroid belt. It's a pretty boring mission, 5 years. They're bored out of their minds, and they're all basically a collection of characters that are running away from something. Scott, the main character, is running away from debts, and Miranda, who is the estranged daughter of one of the leading families, who hates the family and just wants to get as far away from them as possible. And then a whole lot of other various different characters in there. You can imagine a kind of a Firefly type scenario. I was saying, well, that's all very well, but where's the drama in all of this? Where's the tension? Where's the story as such? So like a lot of science fiction stories in general, it's really a new technology comes in that undermines the current status quo. So in the Belt, what I decided to do was bring in a new type of AI. Obviously, the world is all about AI. It's controlled by AI. And if I could bring in a new type of artificial intelligence, then we could undermine the status quo, the world as it is at the moment. And what better than to use, say, quantum computing? So to build an artificial intelligence using quantum computing, and by the nature of quantum computers, I envisaged that this intelligence would be borderline sentient. In other words, a real thinking machine, a general intelligence.
Good evening, Dave.
How you doing, Hal?
Everything's running smoothly. And you?
Oh, not too bad.
Have you been doing some more work?
And I call these quantum intelligence, or QI, they're called in the book. And they would be rather exotic sort of devices or exotic machines. They're preserved mainly of labs or academic institutions. That I kind of borrowed a bit from the early days of the internet, where most internet servers are really in just universities and labs and places like that, and they would be able to transmit data between themselves. And it was like that for a long time, until eventually then it kind of exploded. So similarly with the quantum intelligence, or the QIs, they are the preserve of research labs. I also considered that, again, this is coming back to undermine the current status quo, that they may have been imbued with a prime directive when they were being developed. So a bit like Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, they might be imbued with a directive along the lines of every action undertaken must be for the benefit of humanity.
There's no way my luck is that bad.
And because of this prime directive, the QIs are not connected to the system-wide network, the grid, I call it. So they kind of exist in isolation. So they're sitting there in the background. And our book starts really with, the belt starts really with discovery, our crew discover this derelict spaceship. I know it's pretty classic sci-fi trope. They discovered this derelict spaceship out in the asteroid belt, which is not alien. Sorry to disappoint you, it's human. And it contains a kind of an exotic technology that was developed by a QI on Earth, and it was being transported to another QI that lives on a research colony on Europa. And this technology is an experimental technology, and it has the ability to allow quantum computers to communicate faster than the speed of light, so superluminal communication. And it does this using quantum entanglement, which is not that far-fetched, actually, although I'm not so sure that it is theoretically possible. But it can only be utilized by a quantum computer. Anyway, this has been lost. Our crew of the Hermes find it, and all they're thinking of is salvage rights. They think it's a big payday. But of course, once word of their discovery gets out, and that this technology that was lost has now been found, the power brokers of the system, the 7, realized that if the quantum computers were connected and were connected to the grid, then their whole world would suddenly be threatened, and they need to stop this at all costs. So there ensues a mad chase around the solar system, and it covers everything from the asteroid belt to Ceres to Mars, back to Earth to Europa, and a whole lot of kind of exotic locations like asteroid cities and mining outposts and space stations. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So, and that kind of is the sort of the premise of the first 3 books of the belt. And then the second 3 books, starting with Enigma, starts the story about 23 years later. It focuses on the daughter of Miranda, one of the main characters in the first book. The sort of themes I had for that were, I was looking at Elon Musk's Neuralink. That was kind of all over the news at the time. And this idea where he has set up a business or a new enterprise that's going to implant little things in your brain. And those things will allow you to interface with whatever machines, computers, so on and so forth, and make control. And I mean, it sounds absolutely fascinating. I was fascinated by it. So again, in typical science fiction author think, I was saying, well, what if you could do that? But what if it was more than just an interface to the physical world? Let's say you could actually interact with data. And not so much in the sense, say, of the Matrix, where you're entering a kind of a virtual world, but you can actually see the data and you can process that data in real time, and you could use, quantum elements of thought to be able to process this information at accelerated speeds. So the fourth book, Enigma, kicks off with where our Van Helsing family, who've been sort of vanquished in the previous books. Spoiler alert here, by the way. Okay, if you're going to listen any further, I'll keep it as minimum. I'll keep it as minimum as possible, so I don't want to spoil the story for you. But suffice to say, they have developed these, because they're a genetics company, they have developed these enhanced humans who are able to jack into the grid, or the internet, the grid I call it, and manipulate the data stream in real time. That enables them to start messing with the QIs, the quantum intelligence, because they can create blind spots and they can prevent data from getting to them, and they can basically, they have a way back to power by using these node runners, as I call them. But our hero, or in this sense, who is Luca, has this kind of enhanced quantum biology. Unbeknownst to her, she was actually a bit of an experiment, and she proved to be an enigma. And of course, our crew are trying to protect her, and the quantum intelligence are trying to protect her and keep her safe. And of course, the evil Van Helsing Corporation wants to try and get her and utilize her biology to create this kind of super node runner. And there ensues then a kind of another mad chase around the solar system. But it's the three books, Enigma, Exodus, and the sixth one, which I've yet to write. They chart her story, and it's kind of more about how she goes from denying essentially what she is to appreciating her powers and strengths, and then deciding that she can utilize this for the betterment of humanity, so to speak. It's kind of a typical hero's journey. Okay, so that's really the bit of background to the Belt series. As I said, the latest book, Exodus, which I really like. I really like this book. It took a lot of writing, and it was hard going actually during this whole lockdown. You'd think that would suit sort of writers, but it's funny. I think it's like you lack stimulation. You're not about. You're not doing things. And anyway, it doesn't matter. It's done, and the sixth book is kind of well on its way. Plot's all done. I'm about 2 or 3 chapters into it now at the moment. So anyway, if you get a chance, pick it up, and I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today, as they say, and I shall see you all next time. Take care.